God is making everything work in your favor. Don't give up, ladies and gentlemen. There comes a moment in every life when the path seems unclear, the prayers seem unanswered, and the waiting feels endless. You've done all you could, you've prayed, you've believed, you've hoped, and yet nothing seems to move. But I stand before you to remind you today God is making everything work in your favor. Don't give up. Even when it doesn't look like it, even when every circumstance contradicts your faith, God's hand is still at work behind the scenes, turning what was meant to break you into what will bless you. Life will often test your faith right before the promise unfolds. You'll be tempted to doubt, to fear, to assume that silence means abandonment. But the silence of God is not the absence of God. It's the space in which He arranges divine order, where unseen forces are being shifted, hearts are being prepared, and doors are being aligned for your good. When nothing seems to happen in the natural, it's because everything is happening in the spiritual. The unseen realm is where your victory is being built. You see, what you call delay, God calls design. Every obstacle you faced, every person who walked away, every painful season, it's all part of a greater story written by divine intelligence. Sometimes God hides His blessings in disguise, wrapping them in struggle so that only faith can unwrap them. What the enemy meant for evil, God is transforming into a platform for your testimony. The pain, the pressure, the process, none of it will be wasted. But here's the key: you must not give up. You can't quit when the pressure rises, because that's when your breakthrough is closest. The moment you're ready to walk away is often the very moment heaven is ready to deliver. Don't let temporary discomfort make you abandon a permanent promise. God is faithful, and even when you can't trace His hand, you must trust His heart. So today, as you listen and reflect, I want you to release your fear of timing. Stop worrying about how long it's taking. Let go of the thought that you've missed your moment. You are right on schedule, because God's plan for your life cannot be rushed nor delayed. Everything, the good, the bad, and the confusing, is working together for your favor. Hold on a little longer. Keep your faith anchored in His goodness. You may not see it yet, but soon you'll understand why it had to happen this way. When the promise manifests, you'll realize God never forgot you. He was simply perfecting what concerned you. Because when God is in control, even the things that seem against you are secretly working for you. So don't give up now. The story isn't over. It's just beginning to turn in your favor. What looks like a setback is a setup for glory. There are moments in life when everything you planned seems to fall apart. You thought you were on the right path. You gave your best, and suddenly it all collapses. The relationship ends, the job is lost, the opportunity disappears, the dream feels delayed beyond recognition. In those moments, the human mind begins to panic, asking, why is this happening to me? What did I do wrong? But what if I told you that what you call a setback is not destruction, but divine construction? What if what feels like the end is actually the beginning of something greater? Something only God could see from His higher perspective. Life is not happening against you, it is happening for you. Every apparent loss is God's way of redirecting your steps into alignment with a destiny that is much bigger than you could ever imagine. You see, God often hides His greatest blessings in moments that seem unbearable. When things fall apart, it is usually because God is rearranging them in your favor. He closes doors not to punish you, but to protect you. He removes people not to hurt you, but to clear your path. When you experience rejection, He is merely making room for divine connection. What you see as a delay, heaven sees as preparation. God knows the exact sequence of events that must unfold for your promise to manifest. And if one piece of that puzzle is out of place, He will lovingly allow a disruption to correct your course. That disruption may feel like chaos, but in truth it's choreography, a sacred dance of destiny that only faith can recognize. Think about Joseph in the scriptures. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison for something he didn't do. To the natural eye, his life looked like one tragedy after another. But every event that seemed like a setback was secretly positioning him for greatness. The betrayal led him to Egypt, the prison introduced him to Pharaoh's butler, and the interpretation of a dream led him to the throne. Without the pit, there would have been no palace. Without the rejection, there would have been no elevation. God was orchestrating every detail, even through the pain, to bring Joseph into his divine assignment. The same is true for you. What you call failure may be the very thing that leads you to your breakthrough. When you go through seasons of loss or confusion, you are being stretched spiritually. God allows certain disappointments not because He delights in your pain, but because He is strengthening your capacity for what's coming next. The promise you are meant to carry requires maturity, wisdom, and resilience. If everything came easily, your faith would remain shallow, and your gratitude would be fleeting. So he trains you in the valley before revealing you on the mountain. Every tear, every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer. They are shaping you into someone who can handle the blessing without losing humility. That is why you must learn to bless the setback. Instead of asking, why me? Start declaring, thank you, God, that even this is working for my favor. The truth is, God's path to glory often begins in mystery. You may not understand why something happened, but understanding is not a prerequisite for trust. When you walk by faith, you surrender the need to know how and when. You begin to rest in the assurance that your life is not random, it's divinely designed. Even the detours are deliberate. The people who betrayed you, the plans that failed, the seasons that broke you, they all carried divine purpose. Some doors had to close because they would have limited you. Some relationships had to end because they were blocking your growth. Some dreams had to be delayed because you weren't ready yet. God's love sometimes disguises itself as loss, but if you look closely, you'll see that his fingerprints are all over the pain. What looks like the end is often the turning point. When the walls fall, that's when the rebuilding begins. When one chapter ends, that's when God starts writing the next with greater glory. If you never lost what you thought you needed, you would never discover what God always intended for you. The disappointment was necessary because it broke your attachment to what was temporary, making room for what is eternal. Every divine setup requires a moment of discomfort. Think of a seed. It must be buried in darkness before it grows toward the light. You are that seed. The soil may feel suffocating, but growth is happening underground. Soon, the very thing that was meant to bury you will be the platform that raises you. So stop labeling seasons as good or bad. Everything is useful in the hands of God. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the failure, all are tools in his workshop of transformation. Sometimes he will let your plans crumble because he wants to replace them with his plans. Plans that exceed your imagination. When you lose control, it's not a tragedy, it's a transfer. God is taking the wheel and steering you toward your destiny. The pain you feel today is not the punishment of God, it's the pruning of God. And pruning always precedes blooming. Every time you think you've lost something, remind yourself, I'm being set up for glory. The harder the fall, the higher the rise. The more painful the process, the more powerful the purpose. You were never meant to stay in the pit. You were destined for the palace. You were never meant to live in confusion. You were born to carry revelation. Your story may have dark chapters, but they are all leading toward a divine climax where everything begins to make sense. You will look back and thank God for the very things you once cried over, because they were all part of his master plan. You must train your mind to see through the eyes of faith, not fear. Faith doesn't deny the pain, but it recognizes that pain has purpose. Faith whispers, even this is working for me. The moment you begin to see your struggles as sacred preparation, you stop resisting and start rejoicing. You no longer ask, why is this happening to me? Instead, you proclaim, this is happening for me. You begin to realize that the greater the resistance, the greater the reward. You begin to understand that the storm isn't meant to destroy you. It's meant to reveal what's indestructible within you. And when that realization dawns, something shifts inside you. The anxiety fades. The confusion clears. You begin to walk with peace, knowing that every closed door was divine redirection. You begin to thank God for what didn't work out, because now you see how it made room for what was better. That's when your testimony is born, not after the blessing, but during the battle. True faith praises in the middle of uncertainty. True strength is not in avoiding pain, but in perceiving purpose within it. So, beloved, hold your head high in your season of setback. Don't let temporary difficulty make you forget eternal destiny. The fire you're walking through is refining you, not defining you. The valley you're crossing is shaping you, not stopping you. What looks like a setback today will soon reveal itself as the setup for your greatest victory. When the pieces finally come together, you'll see that God never forgot you. He was simply aligning the right people, timing, and circumstances to reveal your glory. You'll step into a new level of peace and power, declaring with confidence, it was good that I was afflicted, for it taught me to trust in the Lord. Remember this truth. Every setback is a setup for glory. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and realize God was working all along, turning every tear, every trial, and every test into a testimony of his faithfulness. Keep believing, keep standing, and keep trusting, because what looks like a loss today will soon become the stage for your divine elevation. God is not finished, he is just getting started. And when he finishes, it will be beautiful beyond anything you could have imagined. God's timing is always perfect. Even when it feels late, there are seasons in life when it feels like God has forgotten your name. You've prayed, you've believed, you've done all you know to do, yet nothing seems to move. You see others being blessed, opportunities passing you by, and you begin to wonder, Lord, when will it be my turn? But what if I told you? Your turn is not late, it's right on time. God's timing is never behind, it's always divine. He operates beyond human clocks and calendars. What seems like a delay to you is divine precision to Him. He knows exactly when to release what you've been waiting for, because He is not only preparing the blessing for you, He's preparing you for the blessing. You see, an early blessing can become a burden if you're not yet ready to carry it. That's why God doesn't rush. He perfects. He matures. He refines. He works in silence until both you and your promise are ready to meet in divine alignment. We often mistake God's silence for His absence, but silence is where His most delicate work is done. When you can't see movement, that's when He's moving most. The waiting season is not punishment, it's protection. If you received everything you prayed for when you wanted it, some of it would have destroyed you. God's love is so deep that He delays certain things until your character is strong enough to sustain them. He's not denying you, He's developing you. Every no, every not yet, every closed door carries divine wisdom. Sometimes God delays what you want so that you can discover what you truly need. What looks like a missed opportunity is often a merciful redirection. He sees what you can't see. He knows what's around the corner, and He's saving you from things that don't align with your destiny. Remember, the same God who parted the Red Sea waited until the Israelites were trapped between Pharaoh's army and the water before He moved. Why? Because God always waits for the moment when His glory will be undeniable. If He had opened the sea earlier, they would have credited luck or strategy. But by waiting until all hope seemed lost, He made sure that when the miracle happened, everyone knew it was the hand of God. The same is true for you. Sometimes God allows your situation to reach its darkest hour so that when the light breaks forth, there will be no doubt who made it happen. The delay is divine theater, a setup for God's glory to be revealed through your story. You must remember that delay is not denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not on the way. God's promises are not fragile. They don't expire with time. The dream He placed in your heart is eternal, and though it tarries, wait for it will surely come to pass. You can rest in this truth. The same God who began a good work in you will finish it in perfect time. Your job is not to figure out the timing, is to remain faithful during the waiting. Faith that only believes when it sees is not faith at all. Real faith keeps believing in the dark, trusting that every unseen moment is working in your favor. When it feels late, it's not late. It's just later than your plan, but earlier than your breakthrough. God sees the full picture. He knows the right people to connect you with, the right opportunities to open, and the right moment for it all to unfold. Every season of waiting is molding your patience, sharpening your discernment, and deepening your trust. One day, you'll look back and say, now I see why it took so long. Because when the blessing finally arrives, it will not come in pieces. It will come complete, perfectly timed, and tailor-made just for you. So stop worrying about time. Stop comparing your timeline to others. What's meant for you cannot pass you by. When it's your moment, no one can block it. Until then, rest in the knowing that delay is God's way of building something lasting within you. His timing is flawless because His vision is infinite. While you're waiting, keep your heart grateful, your faith anchored, and your eyes lifted. For when God finally moves, you'll understand. He was never late. He was simply making everything beautiful in its time. Your faith in the dark is what unlocks the light. Faith is not proven when everything is easy. It is revealed when everything feels impossible. Anyone can believe when the sun is shining, but true faith is born in the midnight hours, when there is no sign, no evidence, and no reason left to hope except the quiet whisper within that says, keep trusting. The darkness of life is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to develop you. It is in the dark where your roots of faith grow deep, where your soul learns to depend on God, and where the unseen hand of heaven begins to shape your destiny. When you walk through seasons where nothing makes sense, when your prayers seem unanswered, when every door appears closed, that is when heaven watches to see if your faith will still stand. For it is not light that tests faith, it is darkness. The greatest miracles are conceived in the absence of visibility. When you can't see what God is doing, that's when your belief matters most. The unseen realm is where everything begins. Before the light of manifestation, there must be the darkness of creation. Just like a seed must be buried in soil before it can bloom, your promise must first go underground before it comes to life. The burial feels like an ending, but it's actually the birthplace of new beginnings. When everything around you looks dead, remember, resurrection is God's specialty. He works best in the impossible. He shines brightest when it's darkest. So don't fear the dark season. Embrace it, for it is the sacred place where faith becomes real. You see, faith in the dark isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing to believe that everything will be, even when it's not. It's about saying, I don't know how, but I know who. It's that unshakable trust that refuses to surrender, even when logic screams to give up. In those moments, your words matter. What you speak in the dark determines what you will see in the light. Keep speaking life. Keep declaring victory. Keep thanking God before the breakthrough comes. Because every word of faith is a seed, and when the season shifts, that seed will burst forth with light. The night may seem endless, but dawn always comes. No darkness can hold back the rising of God's promise. Remember, even the stars are only visible in darkness. They were always there, but it took the night to reveal them. In the same way, your true strength, your true power, and your true connection to God are revealed not when things are easy, but when you have to trust blindly. Faith teaches you to walk not by sight, but by vision, the inner knowing that what God said is already done. You may not see it with your eyes, but faith allows you to see it with your spirit. And once you see it within, no darkness outside can make you doubt it. Think about all the great stories of victory. They all began in moments of deep uncertainty. Abraham believed for a son when his body was old. Moses stood before a sea with no bridge in sight. David faced a giant with nothing but a stone. Jesus himself endured the darkness of the cross before stepping into the glory of resurrection. The pattern is always the same: faith first, light later. The darkest moments are not the end, they are the tunnel leading to transformation. You must not quit while you're still in the tunnel, because the light is already waiting at the other end. So when everything feels silent, when you've done all you can and nothing seems to change, remember, silence is not absence. God is still speaking, still moving, still working behind the scenes. You may not feel Him, but He's closer than ever. Your faith in this moment is creating pathways in the unseen, aligning circumstances, and preparing miracles you cannot yet perceive. One day soon, what was hidden will be revealed, and you will understand that your faith in the dark was never wasted. Hold on, even if all you can do is whisper a prayer through your tears. Keep believing, even if it's just with a trembling heart. God honors that kind of faith, the kind that refuses to die in darkness, because that faith becomes light. That faith shifts realities. That faith moves mountains. The night cannot last forever. The same God who allowed the darkness will command the light to break forth at the perfect time. And when it does, you will see clearly what your spirit already knew, that God was with you all along, turning your faith in the dark into a radiant testimony of His power and love. Every closed door is protection, not punishment. When a door closes, it's human nature to feel rejected, disappointed, or even abandoned by God. You may have prayed for something, believed for it, fought for it, only to watch it slip through your fingers. In that moment, you may wonder, why would God take this away from me? Why would He let this end? But what if that closed door wasn't rejection at all? What if it was divine redirection? Every no you face, every door that shuts in your face, is not God withholding good from you. It's God protecting you from something that would have hindered your destiny. His wisdom sees beyond your current desire. He knows what you cannot see. And often, His greatest mercy comes disguised as denial. The truth is, some doors close because God is saving you from unnecessary pain. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Not every opportunity that shines is meant for your spirit. Some people carry lessons, not lifetime roles. Some jobs, relationships, and plans were never aligned with your purpose. And God, in His grace, removes them before they can derail you. When He closes a door, it's not punishment for something you did wrong. It's preparation for something He's about to make right. He's saying, trust me, I see what you don't. It takes spiritual maturity to thank God for the doors that did not open. Because often, the doors you cried over were the very ones that would have led you away from your destiny. Think about it. If every prayer you ever prayed had been answered the way you wanted, you wouldn't be where you are today. Some of the best things that happened to you were the things that didn't happen. The job you didn't get, the relationship that ended, the dream that delayed. Each was a divine detour, steering you towards something far greater. God's no is never empty. It always carries a bigger yes hidden inside. When you feel locked out, it's not because God is punishing you. It's because He's building a better door that leads to purpose instead of pain. Closed doors have a way of awakening deeper faith. They force you to stop leaning on your own understanding and start trusting God's unseen plan. It's in those moments of confusion and disappointment that your heart learns surrender, the sacred art of letting go and letting God. When you stop chasing what's gone, you make room for what's coming. As long as you hold on to what God has closed, you delay the opening of what He has prepared. Sometimes He won't let something work out because He's saving you from a counterfeit blessing. one that looks right but isn't aligned with your future. He closes one door only to open another that leads directly into destiny. Consider how a shepherd leads his sheep. When danger lies ahead, he closes the gate, not to punish the sheep, but to protect them from what they can't perceive. In the same way, God sometimes shuts doors because he's shielding you from unseen harm. You may feel trapped for a season, wondering why things aren't moving, but that stillness is divine safety. The closed door is your shelter, not your sentence. It's God whispering, "Wait here while I prepare what's next." And when the time is right, the very hand that closed the door will open one that no man can shut. The key is to shift your perspective. Don't see closed doors as loss, see them as love. Don't see them as rejection, see them as redirection. When something ends, say, "God, thank you. I may not understand it now, but I trust that you are protecting me from what isn't mine." That simple act of trust transforms pain into peace. It lifts you out of fear and into faith. Because when you truly believe that every door is controlled by God's hand, you stop forcing what's not meant for you and start flowing with divine timing. One day you'll look back and realize that every no was a blessing in disguise. You'll thank God for not giving you what you thought you wanted, because what he gave instead was far better. The heartbreak made you wiser, the delay made you stronger, and the closed door redirected you toward the life you were born to live. What you thought was a detour was actually the main road all along. So when you stand before a closed door, don't knock in desperation. Stand in faith. Say to yourself, if God closed this, it's because something greater is opening. Trust that his plans are higher, his vision wider, and his love deeper than your understanding. For every closed door, there's an open window of favor waiting just ahead. Keep your spirit calm, your faith anchored, and your heart expectant, because soon you'll see why that door had to close. And when the new one opens, it will lead you straight into peace, purpose, and promise. You're closer than you think. Don't quit before the miracle. There comes a point in every journey where the weight of waiting begins to feel unbearable. You've prayed, believed, endured, and yet nothing seems to change. The dream feels distant, the promise feels delayed, and your strength feels spent. It's in this very place, the edge of breakthrough, that most people give up. But what if this is not the end? What if you're standing at the very threshold of the miracle you've been waiting for? What if the pain you feel right now is not a sign to quit, but a sign that the promise is near? You see, the enemy attacks hardest when you're closest to victory, because he knows what's about to unfold. He can sense your breakthrough, even when you can't. That's why everything seems to fall apart right before the blessing, because heaven is rearranging everything to fall into place. Don't walk away now. You are closer than you think. Every miracle in Scripture had a breaking point before the breakthrough. The Israelites stood before the Red Sea, trapped between the water and Pharaoh's army. It looked like the end, but it was actually the beginning of divine deliverance. Daniel was thrown into the lion's den after doing everything right, and it was there, in that impossible place, that God's power was revealed. Even Jesus faced the darkness of the cross before stepping into resurrection glory. The pattern is always the same. The moment of greatest pressure precedes the moment of greatest power. When you feel like you can't go on, that's when you must press on the most. Because the struggle you're in is the bridge to your blessing. Your breakthrough may not come wrapped in ease. It often arrives disguised as endurance. God uses the waiting to refine you, to strengthen you, and to prepare you to carry what's coming. The waiting room is where your faith grows roots. It's where you learn to trust not what you see, but what God said. You may not see movement, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Behind the scenes, heaven is orchestrating connections, opportunities, and alignments that you can't yet perceive. The blessing is not delayed. It's being perfected. Just as a seed takes time to sprout beneath the soil, your miracle is developing in hidden places. You may not see it yet, but soon it will break the surface. This is why you must not give up now. Giving up too soon is like digging for gold and quitting 1 inch before striking it. The pressure you feel right now is not meant to crush you. It's meant to birth something new within you. Every tear you've cried, every prayer you've whispered, every moment you've kept believing when you wanted to quit has been building something powerful in the unseen realm. God has seen your faithfulness. He has counted every step, every sacrifice, and every silent battle. And when the appointed time comes, everything will shift suddenly.